Welcome to Solo Shot First, and today we're going to be having a look at the AT-ST driver from Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Now, this figure was released obviously as part of the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm anniversary. This, I've got to say, I never actually owned this figure back in the 80s. I think the original one of this was probably released, I think, around about 1984, and I never ever had this. So it was really obviously a great opportunity to sort of pick this one up. The card back is simply stunning. I mean, this is, I believe, a complete, pretty much carbon copy of what you got back in 1984. If you were lucky enough to pick one of these up, then obviously the figure will be very, very different, but it's a stunning looking card back, obviously with that AT-ST sort of trawling through the woods on Endor. Absolutely superb. Lovely blue name pill on the AT-ST driver, so obviously that stands out nicely, and the figure obviously has that really nice blue background behind it, so it really does make the figure stand out nicely. I think I've said on other videos, I've never been a massive fan of having that sort of 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm in the sort of the top left, but I don't think it massively detracts from this card, quite simply because it's so stunning having that AT-ST obviously in Endor. So you've got the Kenner logo obviously sort of towards the bottom there, and with that warning just sitting underneath it, the 4+ age group, obviously the 50th anniversary, and just a beautiful image. And the figure inside looks very, very impressive. So I mean, the only thing that you would say, looking at the front of the card, obviously this was before we started to receive these on the thicker card stock, so it is quite a thin card. But this is obviously in not unreasonable shape, not that matters, obviously, because we're going to get this figure out and have a look at it. But let's have a look at the back of the card. Okay, so this is VC192, and it's also, you know, you've got that lovely Star Wars racetrack design, vintage collection. The nice part, I think, again, I've said in plenty of other videos, is it does tell you, obviously, that sort of whole Lucasfilm Limited, the timeline of the complete Star Wars saga and the series. Too much legal information on the bottom, but we've been over that loads and loads of time. So the other sort of figures that were part of this wave is Paploo and Princess Leia. Let's go back and have a quick look just at the front again. So one final look at the front of the card before we get this figure out of the packaging. The one thing I did want to say as well, what is a shame, and I think, you know, I know other people have commented on this, the images on the back, you know, where in the sort of that I suppose the original vintage collection, if you like, what they did show was some lovely images of you know, of the original 80s releases, and it's a real shame that they don't do that anymore. But you know, it's a minor gripe, and I believe, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'm of the impression that this figure has already been released as part of the Black Series, the 3.75-inch line, which obviously was with the AT-ST, which unfortunately I don't have an image of that, but it was a striking vehicle. So look, this is a great card back. I do absolutely love the card back. The figure looks very, very good. All we need obviously is an AT-ST for it, but let's get this figure out of the packaging without any further messing about. Okay, so here we have the figure out of the packaging, and I've got to say it's a lovely looking figure, certainly in terms of just first impressions. I've managed to get the figure onto a stand, as you can see there. It's a little bit tricky trying to get him onto one of these stands, because again, the peg holes in this in his feet were quite small. But this is just a really lovely looking figure. We'll have a look, obviously, with the helmet off. But I mean, in terms of the look, there's not too much you can say. It doesn't need too much weathering, obviously, with that sort of the style of clothing. You can almost class it as a jumpsuit that he's got there. She's got like the lovely black boots, just the whole sort of jumpsuit effectively sort of put together with that this piece here. I don't know what you'd call that, really, some sort of support. And lovely, obviously, sort of black gloves. In terms of the articulation with this figure, Of course, this isn't up to the complete modern standards that we've got or we're getting, but this is still really, really very impressive. So you've got obviously articulation at the head, articulation at the shoulders, at the elbows. The swivel here is actually just in the glove and in the wrist. He's got articulation at just the stomach, just above the stomach, and there is a small crunch there. Articulation, obviously, just at the hips. That's just move actually up and down, as opposed to, they don't have that butterfly hinge, not to be expected. Articulation at the knees, and obviously a swivel at the ankles. So really nice looking figure. As I said, not too much to sort of talk about in terms of weathering, but they don't need that, obviously, these type of figures. So really nice. So let's just get that helmet off and we'll have a look. So that popped out, the helmet popped off really nicely. Great looking figure. Absolutely, there's not too much I can say about this. You'd want probably a few of these in your collection. I think obviously it does look better with the helmet on. I know that sounds awful, don't mean that, but you generally saw these AT-ST drivers with their helmets on. I believe I think this figure was based on was it Richard Marquand, I think? Am I right in saying that? If anybody knows in the comments, please let me know. But just a nice looking figure. In terms of the accessories that you do get with it, you just do get this one single blaster, which is, there's no weathering on that, but that's quite standard. Just a really good looking figure. If you're going to do any sort of Endor dioramas or Rogue One dioramas, obviously where you saw these AT-STs, anything like that, what's not to like about having these figures? And again, they are the sort of army builders, aren't they? Certainly if you're going to have a number of AT-STs. So just a really good looking figure, really nicely done. Other than obviously sort of the new butterfly hinge and things like that and the rocker ankles, you couldn't overly improve this character that much. And as a background character, why would you want to do that? So highly recommend this. Obviously, if you're a carded collector, you're going to have this anyway, because the card back is really, really nice. Very reminiscent of it's just, as I said, a pretty much carbon copy of the 84 version. And it's a great looking figure. Anyway, there's nothing else to say there. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel and you want to subscribe, please do. There'll be more videos coming shortly. If you've got any questions, any comments at all, please leave them in the comments section below and I'll come back to you as soon as possible. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.